Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The first of 4 graded stakes races at Woodbine on Woodbine Mile. Saturday is race number 6. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes. We're going 6.5 furlongs on the Tapeta surface. We have a field of 7 older sprinters. Let's start with the 5. Unbridled Juan, who's been a source of just constant frustration for most of us that have been following his career. It seems he has some ability. If you look back over his career, a couple of triple-digit Beyer speed figures, a couple of stakes placings. But boy, he just never seems to win, and now he's cutting all the way back in distance. This will be his first sprint appearance since his career debut back in February of 2015.
To me, this is just taking a shot, isn't it? Because what on paper suggests that this horse wants to do this? I don't know. I mean, I understand maybe if you think that there's going to be a barbecue up front and he's going to really appreciate it, but boy, the turn back from a mile and a 16th, where he's coming from off the pace and the early fractions are in the 24 and change 25 range, isn't he just going to be completely outrun?
He's getting a drop in class, to be sure. Last time out in that Grade 3 Seagram Cup, he was running against the Inform Melmick, who came back to win the Elgin with a 90 Beyer. That horse has now won 4 in a row. He has won 15 times overall. His races prior to that against graded stakes competition. But the fact is that the Unbridled Juan that we know doesn't really want to beat you, and at this distance might be a little bit short for him, and as we throw up the Timeform US pace projector, he might not get the pace to set him up. He's the number 5 and will be coming from next to last in a race where that blue bar indicates favors horses on or near the early lead. Maybe he's a horse you take a stab against at a short price.
Yeah, I don't want him anything close to that 5-2. I made him 7-1. I just think this is just a completely different ball game for him, and I think he's going to be completely outrun.
Now, the 7 Circle of Friends is a 3-year-old taking on Elders. This has not been a problem from him in the past. He had a 4-race win streak snapped last time out. Was it simply a situation in the King Corey where he caught a race off the layoff? Maybe he was a bit short. He gets a nice outside post position. He can be close to the pace if need be, and he's got all the upside potential.
That's the kind way of looking at it, because when I first looked at the page, I said, okay, well, you know what? They got to prep into him, got him ready for this spot. He's going to be good to go. I went back and watched the tape, and I thought he was terrible that day. He never offered any sort of threat, and he just didn't look like the same horse that we had seen in those races prior. Now, again, maybe he just needed one, and all of a sudden he's going to jump up in a big, big way. To me, again, he feels just like a major, major underlay.
The number 3 Puntruski won this race last year. He has not reached the winner's circle since, and I think you can make the argument that last year he was coming into this race off of a sharp win. This year, coming into the race off a couple of losses as the favorite.
Yeah, and it also helped last year, I think, that Calgary Cat didn't have the pace that he needed to run at, and No Holding Back Bear completely bombed. I think he had a couple of things, circumstances work in his favor. To me, if I were the connections, I would say the only way that we're winning this race is going. I don't want to sit off of anyone. I want to just send to the front, try to clear off and take him as far as I can. Whether that's a recipe for success or not, I don't know. I do think that's the best opportunity he has to win, though.
Now, the horse that beat Puntruski last time out, drawn towards the rail, that's the number 1, Ikeren Road. He showed good tactical speed to win that day. This is a horse that's capable of running Beyer speed figures in the low to mid-90s. He has done well on the synthetic in the past, 4 for 6, and maybe we should take those turf races 2 and 3 back against slightly tougher horses and say he's a bit dirtied up.
I think he's very dirty. I mean, you go through and look at his sprint synthetic races, they're really not bad at all. You look at that most recent win, then you go back to June 3rd. Okay, that was a bit of a disaster. Circle of Friends was in there. I'm not going to hold that one against him. Prior to that, you've got a win, and then you go back to his European form. He's got a couple of victories over the synthetic going shorter. So I think this is probably what he's wanted to do all along, and he could work out another good trip.
Majestic Salou only beaten a length on turf last time out, but this is what he wants to do. He is a synthetic specialist. He's also the kind of horse with a bit of a versatile running style. He doesn't need to be so far back. So if the pace is slow, as our friends at Timeform US indicate, perhaps Rafael Hernandez can have him close to the pace.
My concern with him is I just think other than that run 2 back, where's the race on his page that really makes him a true contender in here? I think he's a little slow.
Pick time for the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes. You're going with the 4 Goodbye Greg, and as the Timeform US pace projector indicates, Goodbye Greg, who was a gate-to-wire winner in his last 2 races, is going to be on the lead in an advantageous race flow situation.
He feels like an underlay in this spot. I believe he's 2-1 in the morning line. I made him 5-2. He probably goes off much shorter than that. I agree. I think if you want to go to the front, you can. In a perfect world, I would actually like him to sit a little bit like he did 3 starts back. I know it was over a year ago against hoagie, but at the same time, you look at it from a Beyer standpoint, he's got a couple of 93s, and from a Timeform US standpoint, he's the highest last out with a 120. I just think he's the most likely winner.
Boreal Spirit, my top selection in this race, 6-1 on the morning line. He is 0 for 8 on synthetic, and a lot of folks are going to think that's a red flag, but I think you probably shouldn't look at it that way. If you just look at his situation this year, he's had 3 synthetic races, and every single one of them he caught Pink Lloyd, who without a shadow of the doubt is the best sprinter in Canada. And actually, Boreal Spirit ran 97 Beyer speed figure on synthetic 2 starts back, a race that puts him squarely in the mix here. His turf race 3 back and against Glenville Gardens, who we'll see in the Woodbine Mile. Last time out this horse on turf, he had a little bit of trouble. The race was dominated up front by the 2 favorites. He was shuffled back basically to last, turning into the stretch. He split late. He was only beaten a half length. I like him at the 6.5. I like his tactical speed. Best of all, I like his price.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to get lost in the shuffle here. You should get at least the 6-1 he is on the morning line. And it depends. I mean, he has that little bit of versatility. He doesn't need to go to the lead. He can sit just off. Again, in a race where if you don't like the favorites, take a shot against.
4-1-7-5 for Matt, 2-4 for me in the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes. Race number 6 at Woodbine on Woodbine Mile Saturday has an approximate post time of 3:27 Eastern. Good luck.